Hi, One Best BR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Saturday, April 16th, and right now we're going to take a look at the overnight matchups in baseball for the Sunday games, April 17th. We're talking right now with Ian Cameron, baseball writer for Sports Book Review. We don't have overnight lines quite yet, but we do have the matchups, and we do have the, of course, the pitching assignments. So we're going to just give some thoughts. Our early thoughts before the overnight lines come out. And the first thing that jumps out at me, Ian Cameron, is the Mets at Cleveland. I already told you that I was kind of leaning towards the Mets in this series in general, and Mets is going for the Mets. And he, of course, highly touted, electric stuff, got crushed in his first start. Feels like that was a fluke. Feels like he's got a big bounce back start coming here. Could easily get it done against Cleveland's underwhelming offense. And then, Corey Kluber for Cleveland, been not awful, but far from great. Mets could probably hit him. There's no reason to think that they won't. Are you going to be looking to bet on the Mets here with expecting a bounce back start from Mets?
Yeah, Peter, one of the things that I did earlier this week was bet against Corey Kluber. Against Tampa Bay, I had a piece of Matt Moore and the Rays in that game. Rays won 5-1. And, I like Kluber, but I do think regression is going to grab hold of him to some degree this season. And we've already seen signs of that. He's a great pitcher. Don't get me wrong. He's still one of the, I would say top 10 pitchers in baseball, but there's no way I don't think he can duplicate the kind of success he had last season. And so far through 2 starts, you saw him give up 4 runs on 9 hits and 5.1 innings against Boston. Indians lose that game. 3 runs on 4 hits in the 7.2 innings against Tampa. They lose that game. The bottom line is Kluber's pitching still okay. Cleveland's not winning games, though, for Corey Kluber. And you have to factor that in mind. Even though you want to back these pitchers like Corey Kluber, the Cleveland Indians haven't been winning for Kluber routinely this year. They struggled at times to win for Corey Kluber last year. In fact, if you bet on Corey Kluber every single game last season, you lost money. So that's something yet last year. So you have to keep that in mind with this particular matchup. Steven Matz, definitely coming off a rotten outing. Motivation should be there for the Mets lefty to bounce back. He was just shelled, really, by the Miami Marlins in his last start a few days ago. 7 runs, didn't get out of the second inning. A 10-3 loss for the Mets in that matchup. But, again, the concerns with Cleveland being able to hit southpaws, Cleveland being able to hit left-handed pitching. It's been an ongoing theme and an ongoing issue for the Indians in seasons past, and it's starting to show itself once again here in 2016. Cleveland so far as a team hitting just 208 as a team against left-handed pitching. So that's definitely not a team batting average you like to see against this kind of pitcher that Steven Matz is for the New York Mets. So again, the ability to not only score offensively overall, but specifically for this Cleveland team against the left-handed pitching remains a big concern that I have with this Cleveland team. And again, when you look at the way they've played, they're 2-3 in their last 5 games overall. They only scored 3 against the White Sox. They only scored 1 against Matt Moore and the Rays. Yesterday it was a tough loss to the Mets 6-5, but consistency from this offense has been hard to come by so far for the Cleveland Indians, and their problems with lefties does concern me in this particular matchup. Again, look for the line, but in this setting, with Matz looking to bounce back and a guy that probably will be highly motivated to put that last start against the Marlins behind him, I wouldn't be surprised if there is maybe a little bit of value with the Mets in this Sunday matchup.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. And then the next one I want to ask about is San Francisco and the Dodgers, right? Kenta Maeda did it again, right? Another 6-inning shutout start. That makes 2 in a row for him. Got 12 innings, given up no runs so far this year. And, San Francisco, they're getting a little bit hit by the injury bug right now. They have a nice lineup, but, they do have some injuries. And Maeda looks like when he's on, he can get anyone out. Samardzija is slated to start for San Francisco. He's a guy who I'm always expecting, an implosion from him would never surprise me. He's coming off of an 8-inning start at Coors. Could easily see him, having a bit of an off day here. What do you think about, expecting another strong start for Maeda? Expecting Samardzija to struggle a little bit, and maybe going with the Dodgers on the full game and or the first 5 innings.
Right now, Peter, the San Francisco Giants are a team that I like more than the LA Dodgers overall. But in this particular matchup, this is probably hard. It's hard to avoid the fact that there is an advantage probably for the LA Dodgers from a starting pitching perspective in this particular matchup. I mean, Jeff Samardzija, yeah, the Giants brought him over, hoping this guy would be pitching more like the, an upper tier pitcher that he's certainly displayed the ability to be in recent years. But he's also had games where he's been a little bit off as well, Jeff Samardzija, and you're never quite sure what you're going to get. But you have to give him credit with how he's come out of the gate so far with his new team here, with this Giants team. Samardzija through 2 starts had a pretty solid outing against Colorado last time out, 2 runs on 6 hits and 8 innings of work. That was at Coors Field, a 7-2 Giants win. A tough ballpark to pitch in, as we all know. So very impressive signs for Jeff Samardzija in that particular game. Before that, against Milwaukee, 3 runs on 8 hits and 5.1 innings. So pretty solid so far for Jeff Samardzija. He hasn't been dominant, but that last start at Colorado, at Coors Field, definitely impressive from Samardzija. We'll see how he fares here against the LA Dodgers, and it's a Dodgers team that offensively, been a little bit spotty at times, but they're starting to pick it up again. I mean, they've won 3 straight games in a row. They beat Arizona in the final 2 games of that series, a 7-3 victory for Kershaw in that great matchup, Kershaw over Bumgarner last night. And the Dodgers offense certainly has bounced back, hit a lot better in the last few games, which is a very positive sign for them. They still have a couple injuries. Carl Crawford and Andre Ethier are out, but San Francisco, Brandon Crawford, is a guy that's missed now a couple of games. May not return for either Saturday or Sunday's game in this series for the San Francisco Giants. So you definitely think that the LA Dodgers here might be able to string some hits together against Samardzija. Kenta Maeda, though, is just a guy I refuse to bet against right now, just given the way he's been pitching. I mean, he hasn't gone deep into games. Maybe if you're going to be nitpicky, you could say that could be the one issue that Kenta Maeda's had so far in his 2 starts against San Diego and Arizona. He only pitched 6 innings, but still, he hasn't given up a single run this year in 12 innings pitched against San Diego and Arizona. We'll be facing a better lineup here, so this is going to be a little bit of a step up in class for Kenta Maeda here, going from the San Diego and the Arizona lineup to the San Francisco lineup, a lineup that I've just given boatloads of compliments to on our previous videos, Peter, with just how good they've been this season, taking quality at bats on a routine basis. I like San Francisco as a team probably a little bit more than the LA Dodgers. I really do believe the Giants have the potential to knock off the Dodgers for this division when it's all said and done. I think they could have the chance to be the more complete, well-rounded team, but in this particular matchup, starting pitching-wise, Kenta Maeda probably should have a little bit of an edge here against Jeff Samardzija. If you like the Dodgers, maybe more so on the first 5-inning line in this particular game, if you're looking to back them. Again, San Francisco, a team I like, but I just don't know if they have quite the advantage here in this matchup between Samardzija and Maeda, and Maeda's just been fantastic through 2 starts.
Okay, and then the third game I want to ask you about is the White Sox at Tampa Bay. We've talked about the White Sox in previous calls, generally kind of high on them. We like what they're doing, and we think that they might have some value overall going forward. And Quintana might be the most undervalued of all of their starting pitchers. I really like this guy. He's really good, reliable, and still seems to be a bit under the radar. Matt Moore is starting for Tampa Bay. He's coming off an excellent last start as well. He's good, but I feel like he's a bit less reliable than Quintana, and I'm thinking that we either like the under here or the White Sox, and I'm probably going to be leaning more heavily towards the White Sox. A start where Matt Moore suddenly has sort of unexpected issues with control wouldn't surprise me at all, but Quintana seems very good, very reliable. What do you think about leaning towards the White Sox in the game against Tampa Bay on Sunday?
It's a very intriguing matchup, that's for sure. And the first thing that stuck out to me was under the total for sure. In this particular game, we're going to obviously have to wait and see what the total is when the overnight lines for Sunday's games come out. But in theory, both of these pitchers should have an advantage, should be able to do pretty well. I mean, I've been very impressed so far through 2 starts with Jose Quintana against Oakland and Minnesota. He's given up just 3 runs in 11.2 innings in those 2 starts combined against the Athletics and Twins. And you may look at that and say, well, Quintana facing 2 pretty weak lineups. Tampa Bay's lineup hasn't exactly been clicking either. So I don't know how much of a step up in class going from Minnesota and Oakland to this Tampa Bay lineup will actually be for Jose Quintana. Because you look at what the Rays have done offensively, in their series against Cleveland, the last 2 games of that series that they lost, they were held to just 1 run combined in those 2 games. Last night, they got shut out in a 1-0 loss to the White Sox. So this offense has been dormant all of a sudden the last 3 games for the Tampa Bay Rays, and quality pitchers that are in good form, that are notching some strikeouts, that are keeping the walks at a relatively low rate, probably going to have success against this Rays lineup right now. And Jose Quintana, certainly a guy that is capable of doing that. He faced this Tampa team once last year, allowed just 2 runs on 7 hits and 6 innings in that game. So a pretty solid start, 1 walk to 7 strikeouts. So Quintana, pretty good outing against the Rays last year. Should be set up to pitch pretty well against them here. Rays as a team, 149 average against lefties this season, 1.71 runs per game against southpaws. That's certainly not going to get the job done. So I would look towards Quintana having a pretty good start here. But I actually am pretty I look at Matt Moore as a bet-on pitcher right now, Peter. I really do. And he certainly showed signs of turning things around. He had a little bit of a rough go in his first start of the season against the Jays. 3 runs on 5 hits in 5 innings, couple of walks, 6 strikeouts, 1 home run. But really, it was that 1 home run to Josh Donaldson. That was his 1 mistake pitch. Other than that, I thought he pitched a pretty good game against a very good Toronto Blue Jays lineup. And then next time out against Cleveland, he was very good. I mean, 1 run on 5 hits and 7 innings of work in that game. Rays won at 5-1. In fact, Rays have won both of Matt Moore's starts this season. And now dating back to last season, Tampa Bay 5-0 in Matt Moore's last 5 starts. So Tampa Bay has been winning with Matt Moore on the mound, facing this White Sox team. White Sox have actually been surprisingly good against lefties so far this season, 276 average, over 6 runs per game on average for the White Sox against southpaws. But I definitely think Matt Moore is turning a corner, and I think he can be and has the potential to be one of the better pitchers on this Tampa Bay Rays rotation, without a doubt. So these are 2 bet-on pitchers for me right now, Peter, Quintana and Matt Moore. And when I have 2 bet-on pitchers that I like against 2 offenses, specifically Tampa Bay's, that are struggling a little bit, I certainly am interested in this game going under the total. It'll be interesting to see where this total comes out. I would expect a 7.5 with the total in this particular game. And if we get something in that range, I wouldn't mind playing this game under the total whatsoever. And as for the White Sox, they're the hot team right now. Tampa Bay's not. So, yeah, I wouldn't argue with anyone leaning toward the White Sox in this game. But from my standpoint, I like the total even more, and we'll be looking at an underplay here on Sunday between the White Sox and Rays.
Okay, I think we've identified some nice early leans for the Sunday card. Is there anything else you'd like to advise us to maybe think about looking to play on for Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting slate we've got here on Sunday. And when you look at it, Toronto and Boston, the AL East matchup, you've got Aaron Sanchez against Stephen Wright, the knuckleballer for the Boston Red Sox. I'm a big fan of Aaron Sanchez and what I've seen from him so far this season. He's been very, very good. He's made the Blue Jays look like absolute geniuses for making him a starting pitcher prior to the season. There was talk, would he be in the rotation? Would he be in the bullpen? He's in the starting rotation, and he is showing so far through his first 2 starts that he has earned that spot here in the Blue Jays starting rotation. Aaron Sanchez, through 2 starts against Tampa Bay and New York, he's allowed just 2 earned runs over 13 innings of work in those 2 starts combined against the Rays and Yankees. It's going to be trickier for him here. He's facing the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park, something he's probably not used to. But, you look at what he was able to do last year against Boston. He held them to just 3 earned runs in 12.2 innings of work in 2 starts against the Red Sox last year. And I just like what I'm seeing from him. I mean, 3 walks to 13 strikeouts so far through 2 starts this season. Stephen Wright, on the other hand, he's a guy that the Jays now are going to be seeing for a second time. I mean, the Blue Jays faced Stephen Wright last week when these teams met at the Rogers Center in Toronto. The Jays only got 2 runs on 6 hits and 6.2 innings of work against Wright in that start, and they didn't win that game. But a short second, quick turnaround look for this Blue Jays lineup against Stephen Wright should benefit them here. I expect them to have a better plate approach, better swings against that Stephen Wright knuckleball, and maybe be able to score some more runs against him here on Sunday than they did last week. So I'll be looking for value on the Jays side in this particular matchup. Aaron Sanchez is a bet-on pitcher for me, hoping we get the Toronto Blue Jays at a decent price, and if we do, I wouldn't mind pulling the trigger on Toronto to win the series finale at Fenway on Sunday.
Thanks for your thoughts, as always, Ian Cameron. We'll talk to you again very soon.
All right, thanks, Peter. Enjoy the games and good luck.